Have you ever thought about what it might take for you to stay young? Well, I have. And in my mind, I think I'm pretty young-minded. Young acting. Maybe I'm actually 27. Anyway, let's talk about this today. Hey, my name is Chrystal Hurst, and if you're just joining me here, welcome. If it's your first time, be sure and let me know in the comments. We do come back and look at the comments, and we want to know what you think about the episodes. I am here actually because this was first recorded on the inside with my inner circle inside of our membership, because I go live every Monday morning with those girls in the inner circle. We have had up to this point about 60 some odd minutes of fun and foolery. We've talked about everything from what's the best water to drink, to what's the best mattress to get, to what's the best tea to have, to, and this is what we're about to talk about right now, how to stay young forever. I don't know if I know all the secrets of the universe, but I want to share a few of the secrets that I have with you today. But if you're just here, be sure and become a part of our Sister Circle family. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're on YouTube, that you follow. If you're on Facebook or on YouTube, if you're listening to this on the podcast, then be sure, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. All the things, y'all. So that way when I share new content, you will know. Now, listen, y'all. I am in my 50s. I do not identify. I do not identify with that. I used to say that I am forever 27, and that worked until my oldest daughter also turned 27. And then it was like, well, how can she be 28 or 29 or 30 or 31 and I'm 27? That doesn't work. So then I thought, well, maybe I'll go with, whatever her age is. I don't know. But I've decided since then it's 27. It's 27. That's my number, and I'm sticking to it. I do think I have a fairly youthful outlook on life, and I think I have a fairly youthful experience in life. I like to have a good time. I like to have fun. Now, let me first of all say that I do not have a problem with being 51, which is the age at the time of the recording of this video, because I also love the wisdom, the knowledge, the confidence, the clarity. I love the resourcefulness that I have in life. I love what I've been able to achieve. I love that basically I know who I am. I know what I want. I know what's important. And I know that if I don't have something I want, or if I don't have something I desire, that I have the capacity, not just because of how God designed me, but because God is with me, to go forward and achieve or do or accomplish what's needed in my life. That comes because I have a track record of seeing what happens when I exercise discipline, when I put my hands to the plow, when I bring things before God in prayer. I don't struggle with questions in my life as much as I used to, because I've lived long enough to know what God can do and what he can do through me. I've lived long enough to know what I'm capable of. I've lived long enough to trust in the process. I've lived long enough to know that some things just take time, and that's okay. I've lived long enough to know that I should be grateful for simple things, not get bent out of shape about things that don't matter or things that won't last. That is the gift of living life a long time. You get, and I don't think I've lived a long time. I've just lived longer than some. It is the gift of knowing who you are and knowing how you operate and how you move in the spaces where you live. That is an amazing thing to experience. So I am proud of the fact that I've lived 51 years. However, the other day, I went to Grandparents' Day at the school that my grandchildren go to. And I'm not going to lie. As I walked through the parking lot, I was thinking, one of these things don't look like the other. Not only because I am a young grandmother. That's what happens when you have your first kid at 19. And that's what happens when she starts having her babies young. You're a young grandmother. And I'm walking in the room and I'm thinking, it's not even so much that I don't look like them, because I don't want to make it sound like I look that young, but I do move a little youthfully. I went to Grandparents' Day, and I was the grandparent that picked up my grandchild, my 3-year-old, and then put her around on my back and walked around with her on my back, bumping her around. I wasn't in there on a cane. No shame to those who are on canes. I was not in there moving slow. I was in there running around. I ran to meet her when she came to meet me. I mean, I'm youthful physically, but I think there's something to be said about my youthfulness mentally as well. And why is it that even my nieces and nephews, when I said, I know I'm your old crazy auntie, they'll even say, no, you're fun. You're not really old, Aunt Chrissy. You're kind of different. What do you mean by different? I don't know. You're just different. Okay. So I think that while, yes, I do care about what kind of mattress I sleep on, and why, yes, I do care about the water that I drink. And yes, I am conscious of what different things that I eat will do to my body in this season. And yes, if I want to drop weight, it doesn't come off as quickly as it did when I was in my 20s. There are some physical realities. My mentality for living and staying youthful, I think, is intact. And when someone asked me the other day, well, what do you think it takes to keep yourself while you are operating in maturity in a youthful state of mind? I had to think about that, because I think having a youthful state of mind can serve you your entire life. There are some 23-year-olds that do not have a youthful state of mind. There are obviously some 63-year-olds that do not have a youthful state of mind. So what is that? What is it that keeps you enjoying and engaging with life in an excited and fresh way? And I thought I would share a couple of things that I think have been a part of the natural way I look at life that might help you, honestly, to enjoy your life a little bit more. The first thing is, you want to stay willing to try new things. You just try them. I know you know what you like, but try it. I know you've tried more than a few things, but try it. I will never forget going to my grandparents' home in Baltimore, and I could set my watch by it. I would go into their bathroom and they had the same toothpaste, the same body powder, the same lotion, the same face wash. They didn't change much. And there's no problem with knowing what it is that you like. I like Mountain Valley water. That's what I like. I get it delivered to my house. But when I can't get Mountain Valley water, if I'm out on the road, I like Smart Water. And you want to know why I always get Smart Water? Because I've already tried Dasani, and I've already tried Aquafina, and I already know what Ozarka tastes like. And I already know that big old Essentia bottle I'm not going to finish. And I already know that there are, Voss water is expensive, but it tastes good. But do I want to spend that much money? Like, really, literally, Smart Water will do it. Like, I don't try a bunch of waters because I do know which one I like. And that's a part of the beauty of having lived on this earth a little bit. You've already tried some things, but there are a lot of things you haven't tried. And it can be very, very easy to get settled in your ways. And the reason why this is for somebody who's 63, 83, or 23 is because at any age you can become boring and not willing to try new things. You may not be willing to try new things because even though you're 23, this is the way your mama did it. And since this is the way your mama did it, you haven't ever ventured out to try something different. This could be about the water you drink, but this could also be about the people you associate with. Have you lived in the same neighborhood all your life? Listen, there's nothing wrong with that. Jesus didn't go but more than a few miles from his place of birth. So I'm not mad at you if you still live within 10 miles. I still do, within 10 miles of the place where you spent your first few days when you came home from the hospital. Nothing wrong with that. But do you ever venture out? Do you ever try new places, meet new people? Have you ever been to another church on a day, maybe when they're having a special program? Have you ever gone to new restaurant, or do you go to the same old ones all the time? I am down now to one child out of 5. We have one left at home. He is 14. And I looked at my husband and said, I'm going to still cook, but cooking for 3, man, I only know how to cook for 8. I've been cooking for 7 and 8 people my whole life. Like, even when we were growing up, my parents, there were 4 siblings. So we always cooked for, 6, and always a little extra for leftovers and guests. Cooking for 3? I don't know how to do that. I have so many leftovers in my fridge right now. It's ridiculous. I'm working on that. So I told my husband also, I'm nearing the season of my life where I know we want to eat at home because that's good for us. Howsoever, we're also going to eat out too, because we only have one at home. But here's what I want to do. I want to try new restaurants. I want to act like we're visiting in the city of Dallas and get on the app, get on TripAdvisor and act like we're traveling to our city, or get on Yelp. And where are places to eat that we've never been to, that are within, 5 or 10 mile radius of our house. We can go and just try something new with this 14-year-old. Why not? Why not? You try new things. Not only does it keep you youthful in your mentality, it keeps you living at a level of excitement because it's fun to do new things. Now, for my 50th birthday, I did jump out of a plane. It was new. And I thought when I took my 18-year-old son back, because I knew he would like it. He's the daredevil in our family. He loved it. I thought I was going to jump with him again. And then I was like, it's all right. I did it already. Those straps hurt my thighs. I don't know if I want to do that again. But I did a new thing. When you do new things in your life, you communicate to yourself that you are still growth-oriented, malleable, able to be developed, and able to change. Dr. Carolyn Leaf has a litany of books on this topic. And if you look at the science, because everybody today wants to look at the science, the ability that you have to rewire the neural pathways in your brain is staggering. And you see this in children because they heal faster. They are learning and absorbing so many things at a rate that is unique to their developmental stage, at a humongous rate in the first year, at a wonderfully fast rate in the first 5. And it slows down, but it does continue. And what people make the mistake of thinking is that you can't teach an old dog new tricks, or I've done this all my life this way, and I can't change. And I have said this all the time. People don't change. People don't change. I do believe that at your core, you are who you are, but I believe your habits, your patterns, your behaviors, your ability to widen, to explore, to broaden your experiences in life never ceases until the day you die. And that's why even stroke victims have this capacity to rewire their brains or to wire their brains again. But if they get stuck in speech issues, or stuck in challenges with their movements, or stuck in altered thought, you can exercise your brain and do new things to build the pathways. My second son was born. He was a shoulder dystocia baby. And when he was born, in order to get him out, he had nerves that were stretched, and they affected the use of his right arm. So even today, you can look at him and tell that there's a difference in the posturing of his right arm. And because of his developmental delay, some of those muscles didn't fire off in a way that allows him to use his arm in a balanced way. But the doctor would tell me over and over again, I'd say, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do to help? And she said, it's just going to take time. And I was like, but there's got to be something. And she said, oh yeah, get early childhood. There's, therapy. They'll come to your home. And what you want to do is give him as much input as possible, because even though he doesn't have control of that arm the way you want him to have control, you want to give his nerves as much input as possible. And so we would rub his arm with different textures. I would move his arm. I would stretch him. I would play patty cake. I would do all of these different things to give him the capacity that he needed to have the input, because his development was tied to new experiences. So it is a physiological reality that if you want to develop, if you want to move through your life in a way that allows you to not be chained by whatever your age, whatever your experiences, whatever your circumstances are telling you, you need new inputs. So this is why travel is so amazing, and reading is so amazing, and learning to play new games is so amazing, and meeting new people is so amazing, because one of the best ways for you to stay developmentally youthful is to be intentional about new inputs. When you're in the years of your life where you're growing, your teachers and your parents are responsible for that. But once you get out, in your 20s, you want to try all these things. In your 30s, you start settling in your 40s, you know everything. And in your 50s, you might feel like I'm tired. But you still owe it to yourself to bring new experiences into your life, new inputs, because it alters the way you think. It also keeps you getting inputs that will allow you to grow and change. So that's your insides. Your outsides, we all know you got to keep moving. I went to a doctor who said, this was when I was dealing with some major issues with a foot. I'd had an infection that almost took my foot. And I was so grateful to have amazing doctors who were willing to kind of do some extraterrestrial things to help me keep it. But the process of recovery was crazy. It gave me a great level of empathy and compassion for people who struggle with any kind of disability, because I was just like, I can't get up there. It's like I live in a house that has stairs, and I literally was sitting down with my hands and moving my butt up the stairs to go to bed every night. It was crazy. But one of the doctors I went to, I was talking about a knot that I had in my calf. And now I know what that knot is, but at the time I didn't know. It's a knot that I live with all the time. He said, I think you've developed that because of the change in your walking pattern. He said, do you stretch? I said, no. He said, well, let me give you some stretches. And he looked at me and he said, now listen, I'm giving you these stretches to help your calf, to help your leg have full mobility. But I want you to know that stretching is one of the most important things you will ever do. Everybody wants to run marathons. Everybody wants to work out. Everybody wants to take a spin class. Everybody wants to lose weight. But the main reason you will stop moving is not because you aren't healthy. It'll be because you're not limber. People stop moving because they lose mobility. They lose mobility because they don't stretch. So stretch at home, take a yoga class, stretch on your own. He wasn't talking about stretching before you run or stretching before activity. He was saying you need to stretch because that's how your body stays limber. And if you're not limber, then your joints will start aching, your muscles will contract, all these different things. So physically, just like you need to stretch yourself mentally and emotionally, you need to stretch physically. Yes, go for a walk. Yes, work out. Yes, do the spin class. Yes, climb the mountain. But stretch. My grandfather, I can remember him, he would go in his bathroom and he had these calisthenics that he would do. And he would be in his 70s and in his 80s in the bathroom doing squats, putting his hands on his hips, bending over, rolling around, reaching. And we used to laugh at him. Like, look at him doing all these exercises. Now I realize that he had the better thing. And he was fairly healthy until he wasn't. And he was not healthy right at the end of his life because he moved. Even if you like to do other things, get out, especially now that the weather is changing, and go for a walk. But before you walk or after you walk, before you get up and go out, or maybe before you go to bed at night, you don't have to do yoga. You don't have to do a formal class, but just get yourself some stretching exercises. Find a YouTube video, put on music that you actually like, and stretch your body. The way to stay limber, the way to stay young is to maintain your ability to move. And the best way to do that is to stretch. And when you're young, you want to do all the things to stay fine. You want to lift weights. You want to go in the gym. You want to wear, the booty stuff and the halter top. And, it's a whole club. There's a club near where there's a gym near where my daughter lives. And I swear it's a club. That parking lot is packed every night. And she's like, oh yeah. And I don't go at night because it's just a whole pickup scene. I'm just amazed. I mean, the club is a thing. I mean, the gym is a thing. It's a thing. I am all for, yes, run the marathon. I'm all for those things. But I want to continue doing things in my life that are sustainable. And so one of the ways that you do that is to start in the youth what you want to sustain in your elder years. And if you're older, it's not too late to do that. It's not too late to do that. So I want to keep that simple because really it's that simple. Just stretch. Don't add to what you're doing your ability to move. Okay, the last thing about staying young is, I like to always think about your mind. We talked about that, your body. I want to talk about your heart a little bit, your soul. Is being open to new people, just like you want to be open to new experiences. Be open to new people. I know you have your friends. I know you got enough people in your life. But one of the best ways to stay young is to stay tender. And when I say new people, I mean loving new people. I mean getting to know new people, letting new people know you, being willing to say, this is who I am, like in the deep corner. It is one of the reasons why, I mean, y'all know at this point, my dad is engaged. I don't know when this is going to air. He's engaged. I don't know exactly when he's getting married, but engaged or married, one of the two by the time this airs. We'll see. But the reality is, I was doing some research on people who lose a spouse and what happens when they're by themselves, statistically, right? And statistically speaking, people who lose a spouse who are used to having companionship, those that find new companionship, that are willing to open up their heart again, they live longer. If you've had a grandmother or maybe a great aunt or great grandmother, and maybe they had been married for, 50, 60, 70 years, and one passes, statistically speaking, and within 2 years, if they were close and they loved each other well, the other parent will be gone. But if they find new love or they find new companionship, they live longer. It is good for your heart to love. Love a spouse, love a significant other, love a friend. Michelle and I joke all the time about, we send each other these memes all the time about what we're going to be like when we 70, 80 years old. So, there'll be this video of this 100-year-old woman, in a car, beeping the horn, and then yelling, "You're taking too long. What's taking so long?" And the other one comes out on her cane and her walker, "Shut up, I'm coming." And we send each other these memes because I'm like, that's going to be us. It is good for you to be known. So that means you have to invest in those relationships. It means you have to be willing to let them see you cry. It means you have to be willing to tell them the truth. It means you have to be willing to go to therapy, to do the thing. One of the reasons why I tell everybody go to therapy, I'm like, go to therapy, get you a counselor, do it. One of the reasons why I tell everybody to do that is because I have had the blessing and the benefit, not of professional therapy and counseling, but of great friends who actually have that as their background. And just great friends. I'm very self-aware. I talk a lot when I'm trying to process things. And I have an amazing tribe of friends who are willing to listen and allow me to kind of work through these things. And I know that everybody doesn't have that. And sometimes you need a therapist or a counselor because you do need professional background, or because you don't want to wear your friends out. You don't want to be always talking about the thing that you're struggling with all the time. But I do know how life-giving it is to be known, to say the thing that makes you a terrible person, but to say it anyway because you're in a safe space and that person loves you and they won't think terrible of you. You need that. That means at 21, 25, 31, you need to find it. You need to build it. You need to create it. And I realize it's hard. If you took a job out of college and you landed yourself in a place that you don't know anyone, and I know that on the weekends, you just sit there and watch, get caught up on Netflix. Okay, shut it off. Go find you a church, go find a small group, go find a book club, go hike with some people, get on the Meetup app, figure out what you like to do and find people to do it with. Be the person who's willing to bleed a little. Because if someone else sees you bleeding, guess what? They'll bleed too. And that's where friendship is made. Now, does it mean some people will let you bleed out? It does. Is it risky sometimes? It is. Is it challenging? Is it hurtful sometimes? It will be. But is the payoff worth it? Like I asked my dad, what was it like to make that first phone call? You've been married to my mother for almost 50 years. You met my mother when you were 18, and then y'all didn't even live in the same country for 2 years. You wrote her letters for 2 years. And then y'all got married. Like, there was no dating. There was no, how was that for you? Was it weird? And he said, well, it wasn't weird. It was just different. But he was like, I just decided. she was worth me doing something different. She was worth me exploring the possibility. There are people in your life that are worth your exploration. And this is the case no matter what age you are. The problem is we'll get settled with the people we know. We get settled with the places we know. We get settled with the experiences that we know. And we don't continually invite new people in. The Bible talks about us being hospitable. And I think one of the best gifts of hospitality is that you keep yourself open. You keep yourself tender. You keep yourself accessible. And who knows what you're supposed to try? Who knows what you're supposed to do? Who knows where you're supposed to go? And what if new people are one of the ways you grow? That you're able to try new things, that you experience new ways of thinking. My same friend, Michelle Shelley, who I talk about all the time, she has worked with a young woman named Harsha since her 20s. They met on a job. They've been friends ever since. Harsha is Indian. Harsha is Hindu, and she and Michelle have been great friends for a time. It's because Michelle has been friends with Harsha for over 20 years that Michelle went to India for her 50th birthday. And Harsha took her all around, brought her to her family's house. Michelle was exploring a new country and new traditions and new people and new language because in her 20s, she made friends with an Indian girl named Harsha. What if your greatest experiences and what if the things that keep your eyes alight and alive simply are tied to you being open to meeting new people? I want you to keep a youthful outlook on life. That's why every now and again I jump in the pool with my kids. Just what do I not want to do? Because I know how much work is tied to this, or I know how much effort is tied to this, or I know how, that my bottom's going to hurt if I hit that cannonball the wrong way. Where am I letting my knowledge get in the way of new knowing? What should you do just because you can? When is the last time you sat down with a grandchild and colored? When is the last time you took a new class? Shonda and I, the friend of the team, went and took a calligraphy class together. Now I know I can go to Hobby Lobby. I can buy myself a calligraphy set. I can do these things. But I was like, I'm going to go take a class, meet new people, try new things. I believe that youthfulness is a mentality. My grandmother, at my cousin's wedding, she was 90 years old. And my uncle James, who is now passed on, she's passed on too. She was sitting in the chair looking all prim and proper. And he walked up to her because she always, my mother's family comes from West Indian culture, and the undercurrent of West Indian culture is English culture a lot of the time. Very prim and proper, very elegant woman. And he walked up to her and he said, "Come on, mommy. You know you like to dance." And she said, "What? What? I ain't danced. I ain't danced in a long time, man. I can't." And he said, "Mommy, come on now. You know you like to dance." And he lifted her from the chair. And one of the best pictures from that wedding is my Uncle James with long dreads spinning her out. And with her hands up in the air, she was smiling. Sometimes we forget to dance. Maybe your body does ache. Maybe life aches. Maybe things are busy. Maybe you feel like you've tried all the things, but I'm telling you, you want to stay as excited about life as you were when you graduated from high school and all of life was in front of you. Don't get dissuaded or too disappointed, because life does happen. Life be out here lifing. But don't get so disappointed or disgruntled with how life has gone that you don't forget to dance, to try new things, to meet new people, to open your heart to new experiences, and to keep stretching physically and figuratively so that you can meet life and enjoy it. I want you to get to the end of your life and think, I enjoyed it. I was just looking online. There's a girl, I don't even know why I know her. I don't follow her, but I think a lot of people that I follow do know her. Her name is, her Instagram is Boss Lee. Her name is Jessie Lee. And at 34 years old, she just passed away from colon cancer. I was thinking about her life, and that reminded me, of course, of Chadwick Boseman, who died too early, in our opinion. But my goodness, how he lived, right? What he did with his time. And I was thinking the same thing about her, but in a slightly different way. She was a marketer, and up until the day she died, she was working. And people are saying, how sad, how sad that she was working. Like, the last video that she shared was 10 days before her death day, and she was still working in marketing. And people said, so sad. But I was thinking, is it sad? Or is that what she wanted to do with her life? Like, as a single woman, is that what she enjoyed doing? I don't know. We'll never know. I can't ask her. Only the people closest to her would know, if they even do. What I can tell you is it doesn't really matter as long as you're living life the way you want to. And since you don't know if your last day will be 24 or 84, what do you want to be out here doing in these streets? We say with, Chadwick Boseman, man, he was dying, making movies and showing up on red carpets. But here's the thing. We're all dying. We don't know what the end point is, but we're all dying. Michael Hyatt says that one of the best things he ever did in his life was to write out his obituary. And I haven't done that yet. I've been thinking about doing it. He's like, why not? Why would I hope that somebody can write about me all the things I want them to know? So I'm going to do it. But he said, I read it every year and say, I'm writing it. And I highlighted the part that I knew wasn't true because I was a workaholic. And I knew it wasn't true because I was hardly with my family. And I realized that what I wanted my obituary to say about my relationship with my family, it would not say or read clear. So I highlighted and I said, only include this if it is true. But every year I would read my obituary and I would say, what am I going to do this year to make this true? We're all dying. And one of the reasons why you should stay young in how you move and how you operate and how you think and what you try is because making the decision to not let your age define your experience is how you actually can experience life. And what do you want to say about your life when you know that the end is near, if you even get a chance to know that? What do you want people to say about your life because it was such a constant thread? And one of the ways that you can make sure you're engaging in the things you want your life to say is being willing to try new things, meet new people, stretch yourself, and be open to bleed a little. It's all right if that results in some brokenness, because that's how the light gets in. So, yay to being in my 50s and all the things that brings. Yay to the wisdom that means I get to share. Yay to the knowledge that I have. And yes, to the fact that I know what kind of water I like to drink. But yay for jumping in a pool. Yay for jumping out of a plane. Yay for traveling to new places. Yay for meeting new people. Yay for having hard conversations and being open. Yes, I have friends, the friends that I've had since college or high school or since my 20s, but I can meet new friends. I can develop new friendships. Even, yes, it may be harder. And yes, they got to like my husband and all these things, but it's still possible. It's still possible for me to start new things in my 50s, in my 40s. One of the women who we've had join us in the inner circle recently, she was with us in a personal goal-getting session. She's been with us with a sister session, and she was just willing to say, my life in so many ways has not gone the way I planned, but somewhere along the line, I started to pick up things that I wanted to do for me. She started playing golf. And now she takes multiple golf trips a year. And she has wonderful golfing friends because She realized that in her life, she was doing everything for everyone else and had nothing in her life. And she had a friend who played golf. And that friend introduced her to something she never intended to do that now will be a part of her obituary. She was an avid golf player. What could keep you young? What could keep you experiencing life to the fullest? What could keep you trying new things and learning new things about yourself? Choose to stay young. What would you have done in your 20s that you can still do now? And if you're 32, what have you gotten into the rut of doing? And where have you forgotten to live your best life? So call me auntie, call me Chrissy, call me mama, call me whatever you want to call me. But in my head, know that I choose to refer to myself in how I engage with my life as 27. Why? Because at 27, I picked a direction. At 27, I was willing to meet new people. At 27, I was old enough to know that I had gained a little bit of wisdom. I was old enough to know what path I wanted to pursue, but I was young enough to not be chained to that path. Young enough to still crawl in the McDonald's playhouse with my 8-year-old daughter. I was young enough to still pick up my kid. And at 50, as long as I can, I want to know my path, but I want to meet new people. I want to know what I like, but I want to try new things. And yeah, if I can fit in that Chick-fil-A bounce house with my 3-year-old granddaughter, I'll climb in it because I can. So why not? What can you do? What do you want to do? What would make you feel alive and as if you're engaging with your life? And if it's something that you think your younger you would do, or if it's something that you think you should be doing, then, well, this is me telling you to do it. Stay young. It's more about your mind than it is about your body. So you get to choose. I hope this has been helpful. After this, I'm going to go stretch my body. Because why not? I'm still here and I still get to choose too. All right, y'all. I'll see you next time.